What's up with it, people? It's your boy, the People's Coach, Cornelius Cole, coming to you with the Die Hard fan. That's hashtag Die Hard fan. Y'all check me out Facebook, check me out Instagram, Cornelius Cole. Now, um, shout out to Sports for America for putting me on. Shout out to Fancy Lips Cosmetics. Uh, Another shout out to Fam Brand. You can check them out at fam.brand Instagram, and you can also check out Fancy Lips at fancylips.com. It's PHANSEE lips.com. Also, a shout out to Nerd Focus, the energy drink. Um, Bringing you the show again from Dallas. I'm still in Dallas. Um, we're going to go ahead and get started with the game plan tonight. With about a half hour or so, a little less than a half hour or so, maybe. The Heat and the Nuggets tip off for game 3. I had it wrong last week. I had it wrong. I came out and I said that the Heat was going to win game 1 and the Nuggets was going to win game 2, but they flip flop. They flip flop like, and it was crazy to me that Denver won game 1, even though they struggled offensively. The Heat struggled as well offensively, but in game 2, they both teams struggled a little bit, but the Heat just took advantage of Denver's troubles, especially Denver's troubles on the defensive end of the floor. It's like um, I don't know if Michael Malone hit it right on the head, but I can say that he went in on his team as far as them not taking the games as serious as they could, or trying to put teams away or whatever. He was questioning their effort. I think it just come down to certain players. You ain't questioning the Joker's effort. Well, on the defensive end, maybe a little bit, because Denver just seemed confused. And at no point did he call a timeout. Sometimes you got to look at the coach, because at no point did he call a timeout and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is where you need to be, and all that kind of stuff. But then it's like, maybe he did that during timeouts, but he didn't, like during the course of the game, when you're watching the game, you don't see none of that. It's like, hey, your dude keep getting smoked on the same play over and over. Bam come out, Bam got the ball. They let Bam just dribble up the court, unimpeded, nobody trying to get in his way, stop him, and Bam ain't the greatest ball handler. I'm like, why y'all ain't pressuring the ball when Bam got the ball? I mean, I ain't understand sometimes I just don't understand, but like, I'm just a fan. Like, I don't understand how a coach just put it all on the players when sometimes you can call a timeout and see what they want to do, and see how you want to approach situations. Coming down the stretch, I wasn't worried about the timeout in game 2. I think that was a good call. Just play the game. Let Jamal take the shot, because you are in a series, and if you miss the shot, it happens. But I got to give the Heat their credit. I've been ducking it, and I gave them some props a little bit here and there. I blame the Celtics for the loss, but how many times we gonna say this postseason alone that other teams are way more talented than what it seems like the Miami Heat are on paper? But when you get on the court, it's all about the effort, and the Heat are giving you maximum effort, whether they make shots, miss shots. Case in point, Jimmy Butler has yet to arrive. The Jimmy Butler that we've seen in previous playoff games and stuff, he ain't arrived in this series yet. Like, where's Jimmy Butler? I mean, that's a scary thing. If the Heat stay on what they doing, then Denver really be in trouble if Jimmy Butler bring his, he find his game, he find the mark, he start knocking down shots. He give you a 30, 40, maybe 50 point one, and truck at the people that's disappearing to me. It's just, where's Michael Porter Jr.? I was bragging about him in the other series, like he was lighting them up. Where is he? Aaron Gordon can do a little bit more. I know he's tasked with defense, the defensive efforts with the guarding Jimmy Butler at times and then holding Bam at times, most of the time. But at the same time, you got to get some offensive input. And then rising up. Brown and Braun, I think they're giving you what they can give you, but those core players need to step up. Like I said, Michael Porter Jr., it's like if the guy's shot ain't going in, his head hanging, man. It's like he ain't nowhere to be seen. That's just my observation from what I seen from the game. I see like a lot of these players, like I guess it's the age and the maturity levels of some of these players, and then sometimes the effort of just getting back down court on the other end, like when a foul ain't called, it's like right now you in the finals. It could still go either way though, but if Denver don't change their mindset, they might be out of there. And I want to address something as a diehard fan of sports. I want to address this whole talk about a heat culture. Let's stop it. Stop it. What culture? What Heat culture? They've won 2 championships in the lifetime of the Miami Heat. This is the 6th time they've been in. I mean, all this talk. I like Spoelstra. He's a good coach. I think he's one of the better coaches still standing. I've said that. But hold on, let's not act like he up there with Phil Jackson and the Greg Popoviches and stuff like that, man. He not even up there with his boss Pat Riley right now. I mean, so we need to stop all this. Oh, this is the Heat culture type. What culture? What culture? They've won 2 championships. Well, 3 championships. Sorry about that, because LeBron done won 2, and then Wade won 1 by himself. But what I'm saying is Spoelstra, since he's been the head coach of the team, this is their 6th time in the finals, and he's only won 2 championships. So I don't want to hear this talk of a Heat culture. What culture? Don't you have to win quite a few first? Like in order to be considered a culture, you don't hear us talking. You hear us talk about the Warriors, Dub Nation, or this, that, whatever. But don't you have to get up there to win those championships first? Don't you have to win in order to be considered a culture? I mean, just making it is cool, but I don't remember them giving no rings for the team to just make it. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's funny how things pick up steam and how things become real trendy. All of a sudden, it's a Heat culture. It's like, no, those guys give maximum effort. We know who the boss is. We know Pat Riley, a great basketball mind. We now know Spo is a great basketball mind. But let's pump the brakes on the Heat culture stuff. Like, what culture? They ain't winning. I mean, when we talk culture, when you want to talk basketball as far as cultures, as far as winning attitudes and stuff, man, you can't overlook the traditions of the Lakers and the Celtics until teams start getting up there. I mean, what, the Bulls with 6 fall next or whatever. I mean, it's a big steep between the 17 that those guys have and then, the 6 that the Bulls have. I mean, if we go talk culture, we could talk tradition, we can talk but Heat culture, what are we talking about? And another thing, how we hype stuff up, how people hype stuff up. Now, I give credit where credit is due. Udonis Haslem played hard in his day or whatever, but all this talk, I mean, he an OG on the squad. I get it, this, that, but he ain't contributed nothing on the court. I don't know what he contribute. Maybe it's good to have him in the locker room. Maybe it's what, but he ain't contributed nothing on the court, man. I don't want to hear this talk about Udonis Haslem either. Man. I mean, I ain't here to bash people. I'm just saying sometimes we get ridiculous with our accolades and the credit that we want to give people. It's like Udonis Haslem wasn't that great when he played. So now all of a sudden I'm seeing stuff. Oh, it was D Wade and Udonis Haslem. No, it wasn't. It was D Wade. Stop it. It was D Wade. It wasn't no D Wade and Udonis Haslem. Oh, they built around. They didn't build nothing around no Udonis Haslem, man. If that was the case, then why did they bring in LeBron James and Chris Bosh, man? I don't want to hear that talking about they built something. They had Shaquille O'Neal. They had Gary Payton on that first championship run or whatever with Dwayne Wade, man. The players that he had around, James Posey and stuff like that. No, Udonis Haslem. I mean, to me, it just gets ridiculous. Like I said, the way things trend and the stuff that we push, the narratives that are being pushed in today's, it's like all of a sudden, Udonis Haslem is this great. No, man. The guy's a good dude because he's there and he's loyal. And Miami Heat are showing some loyalty to him. He did win championships. He is a champion, not knocking him for none of that stuff. But let's not act like, put his numbers up and see what they are. Now, I'm not saying people don't deserve Hall of Fame because I've done some research and some of the stuff I looked at was, I have been talking about why is Draymond Green going to be in the Hall of Fame? Well, interesting things that I learned. Like, Dennis Rodman averaged like 7 points, but 13 something rebounds for a career or whatever. And he's Hall of Fame. And, Dennis got about 5 championships or something like that. Yeah. And the rebounds and leading the league in rebounds multiple years and stuff of why he's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't have no knock against Draymond. I think, he was a good piece on the Warriors, but put Draymond anywhere else. Is he any that? Is he all that good? Because we saw what Dennis Rodman did on other teams. Now he was a clown, but he still could get the job done, rebounding and stuff when when he played, when he wasn't getting thrown out of games. So what I look at is like your worth on the squad as far as Hall of Fame. I thought it was something special, but now I see that anybody can get in. They call it everybody Hall of Famers. And speaking of Hall of Famers, Chris Paul maybe it's been discussed whether he'll be waived or traded from the Phoenix Suns, and uh, some Suns fans are upset about it, but for the most part, it's like you getting nothing out of this guy when it counts the most. I mean, yeah, I'm not a huge Chris Paul guy. I'm not. I don't go in on him like Patrick Beverly, who's hilarious by the way when he talks about Chris Paul being a dirty player and stuff like that. But my thing is like I said, they raised the bar so high for certain guys that it's like he never reached that floor general level for me. The best floor general ever, a point guard or whatever they call, whatever they want to call it. It's like he was a good point guard, like solid, but could score at any time. The thing that I admire the most about a Chris Paul is for his size that he can get his shot off. He can get any shot that, like in his hay, he could get any shot that he want. But he's never there. He's not consistent. The injuries take him out of the game. You can't help that. But it is a part of reality, and reality says that the guy is unreliable when it comes down the stretch. I mean, in this year alone, I've listened to, mass media. I've listened to different sports shows, and everybody bash Paul George and Kawhi Leonard for their injuries, load management, and all that. And then, CP3 get a pass. Nah, he shouldn't get a pass, man. Like he in that same category as far as like can't stay healthy. Zion Williamson, those players that can't stay healthy. And but for me, where would Chris Paul go next? I thought about it. Maybe he'll go team up with the Lakers. Maybe he'll finally get his chance to put on the Laker uniform. Remember when he was supposed to put on the Laker uniform years ago? Some of y'all young, y'all might not remember that, but he had a chance to play with Kobe. And then the commissioner at that time, Stern, said, that ain't happening. Said denied the trade. The NBA, the league office denied the trade or whatever. The commissioner was like, nah, we're not letting that happen. Or whatever. That was when he was a part of the Hornets franchise, the New Orleans Hornets franchise. But then you look at CP3, man. I'm gonna break down and say I thought he would never get a championship and stuff like that. But maybe if he chasing the ring, what would be a good destination for him chasing the ring? I don't think the Lakers would be a good move for him. But I'm just saying, like LeBron they known for taking on. Remember they had all them old players, but maybe they learned their lesson and they gonna stick with that young nucleus now. And maybe bringing in a Chris Paul will help out the backcourt some or whatever. Like even it out, but I like Schroeder. I think he's pretty good for the Lakers. But at the same time, I'm just thinking of teams. So I threw the Lakers out there, but I'm thinking of another championship team that could use a Chris Paul. Maybe maybe he go to Boston. Maybe he go to Boston. Maybe maybe he go to Boston, and maybe his experience helps them out a little bit. Because as far as a true distributor of the rock, I mean, no disrespect to Marcus Smart. He all right. But somebody that really distributes the rock and somebody that can hit some key baskets when you need a basket. Because, man, when they jacking up shots and it looks so awful for Boston, but maybe Boston should entertain the idea, maybe. I don't know. And since we're on the Hall of Fame, talking about future Hall of Famers and stuff like that, James Harden probably going to be a Hall of Famer too because of the scoring and stuff like that. But is it safe to say that James Harden giving up on the ring chase? I'm talking about CP3 potentially chasing rings, but maybe James Harden is giving up because I'm hearing that he's split between staying in Philly and going back to Houston. Now if you go to Houston, James, y'all ain't winning nothing. If you go to Houston, y'all ain't winning nothing. I mean, the team is young. Even with Udoka, they're going to be a better team. Don't get me wrong. They're going to come to compete. They're going to come to fight. We've seen what Udoka can do with a team. That's not the point. The point is, even with a James Harden, that's not going to put them over the top to put them in the running to win something. I mean, I just think the West is too stacked. I think that it's a team fighting. I mean, you got a young OKC team that's trying to come up. You teams, Warriors are gonna retool. My thing is, why would you Why wouldn't you want to stay in Philly and play with one of the arguably the best players in the game? I don't understand that move. I mean, I don't, unless it's just a Houston is home type thing, and I just miss the elements or something. I mean, I get that, but at the same time, don't you want to win, James? Ain't the game about winning? Don't you want to win? I mean, some dudes. I mean, I get it. Some dudes, no matter. It's like working in an office or working anywhere I've ever worked or anything that I've ever done in life. You get some of those that's just content with just collecting the check and then going home. They'll have no aspirations to go no higher than where they are. They still in this right where they are, and they cool. But it's starting to seem like that's what James Harden at to me, and that's sad to say because I really thought that he was a guy that wanted it, that wanted to win, and I think that him and Embiid really have a shot with the right coaching. Now, I don't know if Nick Nurse is the right coach for that. I said that before, but what I'm looking at is you got Joel Embiid, which transition I gotta go here as far as like I just said and I just thought about all of the international players in today's league. Like most of the top 10 players are international players. It's like, what does that say for the American basketball? I mean, all these colleges, we got these players coming out of college and these young players and stuff. But, you know, on the downside, you got Steph Curry, man, they aging out. LeBron, these dudes are aging out. So where are the young U.S. players? Where are they? The international players seem to be the thing. It seems to be taking over. You watching the Joker right now, ball. I mean, Jamal Murray, he ain't even from here. I mean, the Joker sidekick is from Canada. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Jamal Murray, Canadian. I mean, you looking at some of the best players in the game, not from here. I mean, Jason Tatum, we saw him. I mean, Jimmy Butler trying to put his name up there. He ain't really been known as a superstar like that, but Jimmy Butler earning it, man. He earning it the hard way, and he 30-something years old, so it's about time, like he earning it. I mean, but when I look at it overall, if you just talk top 10 best players, man, you got the Joker, you got Embiid, you got Giannis. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the top three already, international players. So what does that say? Like, international ball. Back in the days, we used to say, "Oh, they catching up." No, I think the international players are caught up and surpassed because I think, like some of it is the circumstances and having an earlier start as far as playing the grown man game. It may not be the same over in the European countries, over in some of those foreign countries, but at the same time, you got to think these guys can go pro at 15 years old, so they got an advantage. I mean, you can just point that out. They got an advantage. They can go pro at 15 years old. Over here, you 15, then you in AA, you real good. You in AAU or something, and your competition is other high schoolers that's in the AAU program or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it's advantages if you. It seems to be the advantage goes to the international players, I should say, but it's becoming one of those things where are the American basketball player, is it really becoming one of those things in the next 5 to 7 years, 7, maybe 10 years, 5 to 10 year curve that it'll be an extinct thing? Think about it. Everybody going crazy for a French player, number one draft pick. Wembanyama is going to be the number one draft pick, hands down. I don't think anything is going to change in that perspective. The Spurs are probably a lot to take this guy, an international player again. You know what I'm saying? So you look at it, the way the league is trending, the marketing, the global brand, and all that stuff. But the international player seems to be a really hot commodity right now, and I think I think is what I alluded to already. I think it's more about being able to play the grown man's game at a young age and get that understanding. Um, and playing against the best over there, then coming over here, you know, and playing against the best. I mean, is no challenge because now you're on an even playing field with some of these guys as far as talent wise. I think the U.S. we still have the talent, but as far as the drive and going after it, I don't know. I question some of that. I question some of the heart of the modern day U.S. basketball players because you see it all the time. It's like, oh, I'm getting the check, I'm getting the bag now. Now I don't try as hard, but you see that across all sports, and it's not just exclusive to basketball. What we're talking about, the FIBA basketball, I was looking at the list of the players. I don't even want to go through the list of the players because Brandon Ingram. There's not too many highlights on that list in my mind that like. Why our best players don't want to represent us no more? I don't understand that at all. Like, why we gotta beg our best players to please represent us? I don't understand that. I mean, I get it. You risk injury, you risk your, hurting your brand. But man, whatever happened is just showing up, showing out. Leaving the rest up to the universe, or what I'm saying, or whatever. It's just going out there and doing what you could do. Remember, that's how Paul George got injured. Hurt really, really bad, in international play. So, we got to remember those things happen, but it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But, stop with the excuses. Let's get back to representing. I mean, we started allowing the pros to play, when I was coming up, the pros wasn't allowed to play. You had to be amateurs that we were sent to represent us. And then you go to get the pros to play, and we're not even sending our best pros. Our best pros don't even want to play. What's the point in that? Remember the dream team? Don't we want to make a dream team 23, 24, or whatever it is? Don't we want to make special squads? I mean, does anybody want to top the dream team, be better than it? I mean, I'm just saying, man. Like, where's the Mamba? I hear a lot of these Mamba references, but I just don't see it in basketball today. I just don't see it with a lot of people. I don't see it with a lot of drive. I don't see the U.S. players having that Mamba mentality like they claim or whatever. And when I look at these finals in particular, you can look inside the numbers and you can see. I mean, Jokic averaging a triple-double for the playoffs, but they held him to 4 assists this last game, and maybe the Heat figured something out. But you got to see the night. You're gonna see in a little bit that the Heat really figure something out, or were the Denver Nuggets just missing shots? Because in my mind, they got the same shots. Jokic made the same passes. I mean, maybe some of those easy passes weren't there. Those going to the bucket, those passes where you had the guy slashing to the bucket and stuff, Gordon slashing to the bucket, the back door slips and stuff. Maybe a few of those, but they still had a lot of open shots. And my thing is with the league nowadays, Miami hit 17 threes. I understand it. But Denver, step inside the three-point line sometimes. Keep the game close and then attack. That's what Miami did. Miami almost did it twice. Like, Miami got beat the first game, but they were close to figuring out something winning. But I just think that the Nuggets just had the upper hand. And the Nuggets, they are the more talented team. That's hands down. You're going to have to look to match it up. But the effort that the Heat are giving makes that talent null and void. Now, where talent will probably show up is if it goes to Game 7 in Denver, and then you have to make crucial shots when the pressure's on. Now, I also think that Miami's going to make a huge mistake if they just throw Tyler Hero into the rotation whenever he's healthy and thinking that, I think he should come back on a limited basis. If he ain't getting it done real quick, Spo got to pull that trigger, get him out of there, because y'all made it this far without Tyler Hero. Y'all did all this without Tyler Hero. So now y'all, I wouldn't even play him. If I'm the coach, Tyler Hero, you go sit this one out because we got a good thing going with the guys we got rolling right now. But, hey, I could be wrong. But the way I see it is leave that guy out on the sideline, man. Leave him where he at. Like, you don't even need him right now. Like, you're doing fine without him. You're doing fine without him. I want to see, we gave Caleb Martin a whole lot of hype. He ain't show up to this. Him and Jimmy Butler ain't showed up. The two guys that was really lighting them up before, lighting Boston up, took care of business with Milwaukee and stuff like that. Those guys ain't showing up. They ain't there. It's like, where they at, So it's like, when are they going to arrive? When are they going to step to the game? Like, when are they going to come and show what they can do is what I'm saying. Like, maybe tonight's the night Caleb Martin have a good game, Jimmy Butler, but you expect it all to turn around. Like, I don't expect Michael Porter Jr. to shoot as miserable as he's been shooting. At some point, he going to get on fire. I think KCP going to pull his weight at some point. I think, the depth of the Nuggets should be their strength, but it's hurting them a little bit. I mean, you might have to limit some of the minutes, but you got to give Jokic a break here and there. But my thing is, you got young players, man. When you got young players, I mean, Jimmy Butler is probably the oldest guy playing right now. for either side at 33 or something. I mean, you got a bunch of young players, so extended minutes. I mean, this is what you load manage for. A lot of these teams are load manage all year, and then you get into these points, and then your rotation. I mean, I like the rotations that both teams are playing, but what I'm saying is that, man, when they ain't getting it done, you got to do something different, and you got to be quick. The adjustments. So tonight, what kind of adjustments can the Nuggets make to take away the 3-point? Well, first of all, it's just the effort. Get in their face, put a hand in their face, make the Heat shoot a difficult 3-point shot. Make them shoot a difficult one. And the rolls to the basket and put some pressure on Bam. See how he handles pressure. I mean, I know you don't expect Jokic to pick him up full court or whatever, but somebody just put a little pressure on him coming up to court just to see how he handles that. See what his handles are really like. Like, just don't let him dribble up and down the court. I mean, that's my take. I mean, because when Butler get the rock, you pressing him. Do the same thing to Bam. See if that gives. If they got Bam bringing the ball up the court, because I think that was a clever move by Miami. Because it's like, hey, if the Joker could bring the ball up the court, watch what Bam does. I mean, I like those moves. I like some of the, I like the in-game adjustments. I'm one of those that like the on-the-fly adjustments. So it's like when I'm watching these two teams and I'm seeing the adjustments, and to Michael Malone's credit, he tried to make a few adjustments here and there in game two that just did, like his team just did execute. And that's probably what made him mad. That's probably what made him mad, because it's like, hey, yo, you got to make a choice and you got to stop being confused. Pick a man. Like, if you don't, pick the closest man sometimes. Like, whatever. It's like, yo, I know you want to guard this guy over here, but guess what? You ain't over there. You over here. Guard this guy. Just take the guy that's right there in front of you or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, put a hand in his face. Like, and maybe that'll make some difference. I'm looking for more of a defensive match tonight, a chess match tonight, to see who figures that out, because both teams, the offenses, they're going to come and go, man. If you're making shots, you're making shots. If you're not, I mean, even with a hand in your face, if you're making shots, you're making shots. And if you're not, you're not. But then, before I wrap up my NBA spiel, I was looking at the coaching moves. Last week, I talked a little bit about the coaches. Munchie Williams going to Detroit. He took he got a whole big bag to go to Detroit. And it made me think, like, does Detroit really believe that Munchie Williams can turn them around? I mean, I get it. I mean, I seen what he did with Phoenix. You can make you relevant a little bit